Ada could not speak, but she had discovered the terrible truth about one of the most prestigious men in her town. Unable to speak, she chose the only way she could expose him: by carefully drawing the entire kidnapping scene exactly as it happened. But her bravery backfired. Now, they were after her life, and the only person she trusted had betrayed her. Amadi had not visited the orphanage for a long time. He usually sent his assistants to deliver food, money, clothes, and other supplies. Seeing him there in person felt strange and frightening. When Ada saw him, she froze. Her whole body became stiff. Amadi looked at her sharply, almost in a threatening way, which made her even more afraid. He knew Ada could not speak, so he did not see her as a danger. He slowly walked closer to her and smiled. Looking at how helpless she was, he thought to himself, "She cannot even speak. She is no threat to me." After giving the orphanage some more money, he turned and left. The moment he stepped outside, Ada released a deep breath she had been holding. Her body felt weak with relief. She had been so scared that she almost collapsed where she stood. But she was not willing to let it end like that. She tried to tell the caretaker what she had seen. Using signs, gestures, and expressions, she explained everything the best she could. When she finished, the caretaker suddenly raised her hand and slapped her angrily. She scolded Ada and ordered her to go inside. The caretaker was the only person who usually understood Ada when she tried to communicate. She knew what Ada was trying to say, but this time, she refused to believe her. She was afraid that if Amadi had such accusations, he might stop supporting the orphanage. She did not want to lose his help, so she chose to ignore Ada's warning. With a heavy heart and no idea what to do next, Ada slowly walked inside, feeling more alone than ever. The next day, while Ada was still lying on her bed, she heard a loud noise outside. People were shouting and running in one direction. Curious and worried, she got up and followed them. After walking for a short distance, she noticed a large crowd gathered in front of the Collins family house. When she got closer, she saw Mr. Collins and his wife crying bitterly. At that moment, a painful realization came over her. The child she had seen in the forest was the only child of Mr. and Mrs. Collins. Her heart shattered. She was filled with overwhelming emotions. Tears streamed down her face. She was the only person who knew the truth, yet she had no voice to speak it. She did not know how to tell them. She could only stand there helplessly, watching them cry in deep pain. After a while, Amadi arrived. As usual, he came to visit the families of his victim, pretending to care and offering them money and comfort. When Ada saw him, she quickly hid her face, afraid of being noticed. But when she slowly looked up again, she realized he was already staring at her. He had seen her. Then Amadi gave her a cold, wicked smile. Although Ada was afraid, she was also filled with anger. She hated the way Amadi pretended to care when he was the one responsible for Mr. Collins' missing child. At that moment, she made a decision in her heart. She told herself she would risk everything to expose the truth. Just then, the king and his guard arrived. The king had never personally visited the families of victims before. He usually sent gifts and supplies. Whenever such incidents happened, he tried to keep them quiet so that people would not panic. Then he would secretly order an investigation. Unfortunately, the person he trusted most to investigate these cases was Amadi. Even so, the news continued to spread from village to village. The disappearance did not stop. This time, it became too much. The king finally decided to come himself and promised everyone that he would do everything possible to catch the person responsible. Suddenly, Ada ran towards the king while everyone was watching. She began using her hands, gestures, and expressions to explain, pointing directly at Amadi. People tried to understand what she meant, but they were confused. Then Ada knelt down and used her finger to write on the ground. What she wrote was, "Amadi is responsible for the kidnapping of the child of Mr. and Mrs. Collins." The moment the king and the crowd saw it, everywhere became silent. Then suddenly, people began shouting, "How dare you accuse Amadi, you foolish girl? Do you know who he is? Why should we believe you? Someone who cannot even speak." Anger filled the crowd. Some people insulted her cruelly. Others mocked her. No one wanted to listen. Then the king raised his hand and ordered everyone to be quiet. He looked at Ada seriously and said, "Anyone who makes such a serious accusation against an important person in this village deserves punishment. But because you are only 12 years old, you will be spared. Leave this place at once." Ada lowered her head in shame. With tears in her eyes, she walked away slowly. She returned to the orphanage and cried bitterly, feeling rejected, broken, and completely alone. Later that day, Ada realized that she remembered everything she had seen in the forest. Every detail, every movement, every moment was still clear in her mind. She picked up her drawing material and began to draw. Carefully, she recreated the entire scene exactly as it had happened. After several minutes, when she was done, she held the drawing tightly and prepared to leave. Just then, the caretaker saw her and quickly collected the drawing from her. When the caretaker looked at it, she was shocked. Her eyes widened in fear. "Do not worry," she told Ada. "I will take this to the king." Then she hurried away. Ada stood there confused and surprised. Something about the caretaker's reaction felt strange. It did not seem normal. Her heart began to beat fast. Without thinking twice, she decided to follow her quickly. Soon, Ada saw the caretaker entering Amadi's house. Her body froze in shock. Slowly, she moved closer and hid near the window to get a better view. Through the glass, she saw the caretaker hand the drawing to Amadi. The moment Amadi saw it, the cup he was holding slipped from his hand and fell to the ground. His face changed instantly. "Who drew this?" he asked in a low, angry voice. The caretaker replied, "It was Ada." Amadi's eyes filled with rage. "That little girl would not stop," he said angrily. "Even though she cannot speak, she is still causing trouble. It is time I end this." Then the two of them began planning how to get rid of her. Ada felt her heart sink. She could not believe that the caretaker was part of everything. The one person she trusted had betrayed her. Tears filled her eyes as fear took over her body. Quickly, she ran back to the orphanage as fast as she could. When night came, the caretaker and Amadi went to Ada's room to carry out their plan. But when they opened the door, the room was empty. Ada was nowhere to be found. She had escaped. They searched everywhere for Ada but could not find her. They checked the entire orphanage premises, every corner and every room, yet she was nowhere to be found. Then they asked the remaining children if anyone had seen her. After some hesitation, one of them spoke. "She came back hours ago," the child said quietly. She was breathing heavily like someone who had been running for a long time. She took some things, picked up her small bag and ran towards that direction. We didn't know where she was going. The caretaker frowned deeply. Could it be that she somehow knew what we were about to do? She asked nervously. Amadi and the caretaker stood there staring at each other in confusion. Neither of them knew what to say. Finally, they decided to wait until the next day to see if Ada would return. But the next day, she did not come back. The second day passed. The third day passed. Still, Ada was nowhere to be found. Soon, people in the village heard about Ada's sudden disappearance. But many of them did not care. Nobody reacted the way they would if it had been another child. To most of them, she was just a silent orphan who did not matter. Amadi, however, was secretly pleased. She must be gone by now, he said to himself with a cruel smile. She would never survive outside the village. Meanwhile, Ada had been running for her life since the night she left the orphanage. She never looked back. For 3 long days, she had been on the run. No food, no water, only a small bag containing her drawing materials, the one thing that brought her comfort whenever she felt lonely and sad. Her body was weak, her legs were sore, her lips were dry. Fear and exhaustion followed her everywhere. By this time, she had traveled far from her village. She had no idea where she was going. She had never been outside her village before. Every part felt strange. Every sound scared her. She cried and cried and cried. She suffered greatly. Yet, she refused to turn back. In her heart, she knew she would rather face the unknown than return to danger. She chose freedom even if it meant walking alone into uncertainty. As Ada wandered, she spotted a small stream. Her heart leaped with joy. She rushed toward it and drank deeply as if her life depended on it. After days without water, it was the sweetest relief she had ever felt. After quenching her thirst, she walked a little further and found a large tree. She decided to rest under it and lay down to sleep. That's when she noticed a small house in the corner. Her eyes widened. "This is the best day of my life," she whispered to herself. "I'll go there and beg for some food. Maybe someone can help me." She hurried towards the house and slowly opened the door. To her surprise, it was empty. There was only a bed and a small table beside it. On the table were some apples. Hungry and tired, she rushed forward and ate the apple without thinking about who they belonged to. Then, exhausted, she lay down on the bed. "I'll wait here until the owner returns. I just hope they don't come after me," she thought. Soon, sleep claimed her. Hours later, she was awakened by noise outside. At first, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe the owner of the house had returned. She stood up and moved toward the door. Glanced out the window. She gasped. Amadi was there, standing with 4 children and a man. They hadn't noticed her yet, but they were dangerously close to the door. Panic surged through Ada. She slid silently under the bed, holding her breath, her heart hammering in her chest. Amadi opened the door and entered with the 4 children and the man, one of the king's guard who walked with him. Ada didn't dare breathe, fearing even the smallest sound might give her away. "The foreigners need 4 children this time, which means more money," Amadi said, a cruel grin spreading across his face. "As usual, I'll give you your share." The 2 men laughed together. "They will be here in 3 days. We will hand over the children and get paid," Amadi continued. "I'm sure the families have already discovered they are missing. Let's go and sympathize with them," he added with a wicked laugh. They tied up the children and left. Ada's mind raced. She could not believe what she was hearing. Amadi, the prestigious, respected man of the town, had been selling children for money. As she was about to crawl out from under the bed, Amadi returned. He had remembered the apples he had dropped, the same apples Ada had eaten. "Where are the apples I left here the last time I came?" Then he noticed the bed was disturbed, roughened as if someone had slept there. "This is strange," he said, moving closer. He bent down to look under the bed. As Amadi leaned closer, Ada realized there was no place left to hide. Did Amadi see Ada under the bed or not? Watch out for part 3 and tell me what you think happened in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.